Doctor, I know what I'm about to say sounds somehow, but it's an issue that is real to me, and I hope you can understand that.
Of course. And in this room, there is no hierarchy of pain. I want you to know that whatever you're carrying is legitimate, and you do not need me, you do not need my permission to let it matter. Okay?
Thank you. Do you ever feel like the entire architecture of this world seems partial, specifically?
Can you tell me more about specifically? What do you mean about specifically?
Why do some people get the good things of life, and some of us, we don't have any luck? Good luck, I must say. Don't I deserve to abound too? Why must I always abase? Why do I feel like my life is being micromanaged, Doctor?
Karen, you've offered me a great deal of texture, and I'm grateful for it. But I want to locate the center of it with you, if you're willing. You've described the sensation precisely, very precisely, but you haven't yet told me the issue. Do you think you can do that?
I'm generally a content person, Doctor. In fact, the first man I thought I would marry, he didn't have any money, and I was okay with that. I had to restructure my expectations. I told myself we would be fine. And I believed it. Thankfully, that relationship ended. 9 years later, I was still single. I did everything right. I waited. I kept myself. I did not rush it. And then he came. The man I had been believing God for came. And guess what, Doctor? He is also broke. Am I being categorized, Doctor? Is there maybe some cosmic inventory that says she can only handle certain levels? I feel like the Creator distrusts me with abundance. Or am I so disqualified that God will not? Okay, Doctor. Can I be a provider? Why does everything in my life start small? I can start big. I know I can. I can.
"9 years, Karen. 9 years of waiting, and I won't minimize that. Not for a moment. The grief, of arriving at the end of that season and finding that what you waited for looks different from what you imagined. That is a real and legitimate pain. You're not being dramatic. You're being honest about something that hurts you. And you should be able to say it. And because I care about more than just your comfort in this room, Karen, because I am genuinely invested in what you walk away carrying from here, I want to offer you something. Not a verdict, but a lantern. Something that would help you see more clearly what is happening on your inside right now. Can I do that? Karen, what you've brought into this room today has several distinct patterns, and I'd like to name them carefully. Not because naming them diminishes the pain, but pain unnamed remains, while named pain can be worked on. The first pattern is what clinical psychology calls upward social comparison. It is an excessive desire to possess the state of life belonging to someone else. So you're not grieving your loss, but you're grieving what someone else possesses that you cannot have. The second pattern is called an autonomy schema. Now, this is a feeling that self-sufficiency is the only dignified way of existing. So, to depend on provision, to receive rather than generate, is to be diminished. Earlier, you said, can I be the provider? I'd like to stay there for a moment. A child who learned independence only because independence was the reliable option is good at many things. But that same child is frightened by needing anything. I want you to think on that, Karen. The third pattern, we call that gratitude deficit. And I'm naming it gently because I know it sounds accusatory. And it's not. In everything you've shared today, Karen, and you have shared a great deal, there's been almost no accounting of what you do have. And that's not because you're unthankful by nature, but because the pain is so loud right now that it's crowding everything else. The fourth pattern. This one, I'd really want you to hear it, but not as condemnation, but as a diagnosis. It is called displaced longing. which is a longing for your life to feel sufficient for what you have right now. You know, to feel enough. But underneath all of that, what your heart is really asking is if I'm loved, am I held, am I being taken care of? Does any of what I've said feel real to you?
So you're saying this is my fault?
No, Karen. I'm saying it's your pattern. Pattern and faults are two different things. I want to ask you something. And I want you to sit with it rather than answer quickly. What if contentment is not a feeling? What if it's not a state that the right circumstance brings? What if it's instead a capacity, a discipline, something that must be, I want to use this word precisely, learned, something that must be learned, not inherited, not bestowed. I want to read you something, not as a prescription. It is what I call a clinical parallel. I have learned that in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. Philippians chapter 4, verse 11. The author of that sentence, Paul of Tarsus, wrote this from a prison cell, not from a position of sufficiency. And he doesn't write, I feel content. He doesn't write, I was born with this capacity. He writes, I have learned it. Karen, the season you're in is not punishment. It's not divine mismanagement of your life. It is formation.
I didn't come in here thinking I was someone who didn't trust God.
I know. I want to be very careful with what I say next. You did not walk in here today with a faith crisis. The enemy of a person's interior life rarely announces himself. He doesn't arrive with an argument. He arrives with a feeling. A very convincing, very sophisticated feeling that presents the moment insufficient. So that you've been overlooked, that the system is arranged against you specifically, it's not a lie that you would accept. If it were stated plainly, it's a life that has been cultivated in the language of disappointment.
Why didn't you just say that from the beginning?
The man God has given you, have you asked what he's carrying? Have you considered what he sees when he looks at you? Karen, the instruction isn't complicated. And I know it's not easy either. But, you know what it is? It's simple. Be faithful with the little, Karen. That is the only instruction for this season.